All right, so I think the string thinking about things ready to go though. So hello everybody, Megan ZardX here, back at it again to give y'all another very now normally I say a very exciting, but this one is a level beyond levels, transcending space and time or whatever you want to call it. Yes, this is the big episode 100 of my ZardCast podcast series though. And man, oh man, that is just good gracious sakes alive. That is just something truly to behold right there. Like my goodness. I hate man, I need to put more stuff on the soundboard though, because I was trying to time that thing up right though. But anyway, though, it's crazy to believe that I managed to have 100 episodes of this podcast going on for the longest time. And man, oh man, that's just I feel like that's just a big accomplishment. The fact that I was able to stick with something for that long, that just truly goes to speak wonders. Now I have a certain dedicated spot in the show tonight where I'm just going to reflect on those 100 episodes. You'll hear some thoughts from me. You'll probably hear some thoughts from Steven, though, and then just about the history, where it started from, how we're here now, and all that fun jazz, along with everything else that we have planned out for the rest of the night, though. But Steven, how's it going, man?
Going good. Just kind of hanging out after a busy day at work.
Oh
Really,
man.
it's kind of a slow time right now. A lot of people are playing Monster Hunter, but I'm not playing that game.
No, I'm not. I'm not either. I know a couple of our friends are. They are. I feel like reluctantly, like it's not the ones that they wanted, but with it being a new one, they're just jumping up in it anyway, though. But
I'll wait for a sale on it.
yeah, no. Outside of that, pretty good. Pretty good day. Pretty good week. Overall, pretty solid. Alrighty. Well, in terms of like news topics and stuff, in terms of like, what all you can kind of expect and stuff, um, I don't feel like there was like a lot of stuff that happened within the last couple of weeks. Obviously, there's been some notable stuff, but it's not like a big laundry list of stuff that is like, okay, we got a lot of stuff to go through though. But a lot of the topics, I was looking through it and I was like, hey, a lot of stuff happened at least within the Nintendo realm. Like basically we got to talk about the discontinuation of the gold points, the Switch 2 vouchers not necessarily going to work with the Switch 2 in general though, and then obviously the big kahuna, we had like the big Pokemon presents, so we got to talk about that, and then a couple other stuff here and there though, and then we have like a few pop culture stuff, obviously the ZardCast 100 celebration thing, so enough to keep the night filled and to keep this show on and going though, to say the least though, so we might as well go ahead and jump up in it though. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight up into that pop culture segment.
Now, Zard,
Oh shoot, what is it?
I just since you usually do this first, so I thought I'd ask. You don't have a Marvel segment. Both of us did go see Captain America 4, right?
Okay, I did not have a Marvel segment. However, I did talk about it. Well, yeah, we talked about this, Miss.
Did
What
we?
was it? A couple of weeks ago. Yeah, because
Oh,
remember
I
I
don't.
watched it opening weekend. I don't think you
Oh, it's
had a
because
lot of stuff to say about it because you hadn't seen it yet.
yeah.
That's
I'll
what happened.
say. I guess I'll fit it in here real quick. I'll just say because I didn't really speak to you about it. It
Hold on,
was
hold on, hold
better.
on, hold on,
Oh,
hold on,
yep,
hold
yep,
up.
yep.
You threw a big monkey wrench up in this thing. I gotta play the tune if you're gonna do it. So
Okay, fine.
so
Play it.
so let me play the tune. All right. So
Play it.
we're playing the audible real quick. Let's go ahead and jump into that Marvel news. See now, y'all didn't think I was gonna keep y'all on your toes up in this one though. All right, Steven, go ahead and speak your stuff because was a couple weeks ago I went and saw the movie. We're talking about. Gosh, I was about to say Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't know what in the world
No.
I was about to say. No, Captain America: Brave New World. I saw it literally on opening day, and now you finally got to see it. Was it last weekend, Steven? or a few
Yeah,
days ago.
it was last weekend. And as I was saying, well, I'm not gonna really go into spoilers, obviously, because it is still technically in theaters. But it was a lot better than I had expected. I liked a lot of the side characters, especially the older guy. Is it Isaiah Bradley, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's from the Disney Plus show that I didn't watch, but he seems like a cool character. Um, I don't, obviously I don't think you need to watch that show to really understand much about this movie, because without going into any details, it's a lot less of a Captain America movie than I thought. It's a lot more focused on some other plot details they've neglected for a while, which is interesting, obviously. Like, I'm glad they're doing something a little different. I just think the movie could have been a little faster and a little more interesting in just like what it does. But it's overall good. It's a nice little side story. I didn't dislike it as much as I thought I was gonna. I just heard a lot of negative things going into it.
I think people are just so used to like what literally if you're comparing it with the past Captain America's movies, which I was talking to like even one of my friends and stuff, like you went from the first one, which was okay. I didn't think it was the greatest thing in the world to Winter Soldier, which I literally will put that as an S tier movie.
Oh,
And
definitely.
then you went to Civil War, which had all of these other superheroes where it felt like an Avengers 2.5. There's no way it could have lived up to where you just left the ball at with the last Captain America. There's just no way. So literally,
Yeah.
you go from that to this movie right here, and obviously it's not, Chris Evans up on the thing, no. So it's like, you got to take it for what it is and
Oh yeah,
consider, yeah,
that's a good point. I think Anthony Mackie, I think he plays the role of a new Captain America very well. I very much like how they handled it in the movie. Like, it doesn't feel like it's forced or anything. He has like struggles about whether or not he feels like he deserves it. And it's, kind of similar to like in the first Captain America where like the guy that like enlists Steve into the program, he's not looking for good soldiers. He's looking for good men.
yeah.
So like I definitely do like him as Captain America, and I feel like he's gonna be one of the better parts because he's definitely gonna be like important coming up soon with all the stuff they plan on doing.
Yeah, no, he's literally
I
gonna take that mantle of like the Iron Man, Captain America, like the one that was spearhead the Avengers.
Yeah, this is by far the Marvel movie I've enjoyed the most since Guardians Volume 3. Not saying that much, but still, well, oh wait, Deadpool and Wolverine also came out.
Yeah, that
So
was last year.
I'll count that. Yeah, I'll say Marvel had two movies that interested me within a year, which is a good record for them so far.
Yeah.
And it's not out yet. I think it comes out very soon. Was it that Daredevil Born Again had like
Oh, no,
previews?
hold up. That's literally coming out this week on
Okay.
Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to that mess too because I'm like, holy shit. Granted, I still hadn't sat down and watched the Spider-Man ones, but now that they're basically almost all out, I can just sit down and binge them all at one good session. I was just at this point, I was just kind of waiting for that though. But no, Daredevil, I ain't waiting on that mess because like that Man, oh man, I love that Netflix series, season 1 and season 2 back in the day though. And from all the previews I heard on that, it seemed like they hit the same chords as just being like completely dark, like how that Netflix series show was, but also incorporating the MCU flavor and stuff that you've been getting with, with any kind of project that they do with the MCU in general though. So it seems like it's striking a good balance is what I was hearing from all the previews. So I'm hoping it lives up to it though.
Yeah, I gotta watch the original show. I've seen clips here and there, and it looks really good. Just the original show looks really good. Everyone goes on about like the guy that plays Kingpin doing a really good job.
Yeah.
And I know they brought him back for that Hawkeye show, so they're definitely kind of leaning into him being, a big
Yeah,
bad
he was
on
in
the
Hawkeye
street
and he
level.
was also in Echo as well for
Yeah,
like
I
brief
didn't.
moments. Echo was
I
still
don't
pretty
think a
good
lot of people
too.
watched
That was
Echo. Yeah,
unique. That was unique. That was definitely
yep.
unique.
I don't know if a lot of people watched it, obviously, but like it's still cool that they're doing street level stuff. I know the rumors for Spider-Man 4 were that it was supposed to be street level, but it like evolved into like a multiverse story, which is a damn
Hmm.
shame. Because I feel like if you're gonna do street level stories, you probably want to do those with Spider-Man.
Yeah. At least with Marvel, they're heading in the right direction. I feel like for the
Yeah.
most part, it's just kind of hard to get a lot of people in the mindset of, hey, you can't always expect a Infinity War or an Endgame kind of movie. Like that's just a ceiling that was set so high. It's just going to be really hard, if not impossible, to ever kind of truly capture that magic again without just completely like rebooting it almost like a DC level. Maybe not that grand of a reboot, but some
Oh,
kind of a minor reboot, whatever. I'm fully expecting that after Doomsday. They can do it in such a way
yeah.
where it will make
And
sense, but yeah.
speaking of Doomsday, I'm not gonna go into detail, but there was some
Oh, oh
concept
no,
art shared
yeah.
today.
My
I'm
friend
not
also
going into
told me.
detail.
My friend also told me about that mess, and I did not know about it until he mentioned it. And I was like, "Oh, it was a good thing you gave me a heads up," because I was like, I somehow I was just dodging it. I follow a couple of Marvel communities, and I was glad I wasn't. Apparently,
Yeah.
they said it was trending on Twitter as well, and I was like, mm. I
Like
was like,
it's not
somehow I
leaked.
dodged it.
I don't think it's leaks technically, but all I'll say is that they might be cooking.
Oh goodness, you already looked at him. Goodness.
Oh, of course, I already looked at it's concept art. It doesn't. There was concept art for No Way Home that had Doctor Strange and Mysterio fighting. Like the concept art isn't always like
I mean,
what.
yeah, it's not anything that's always set in stone, but it's what could be, or it could be the mindset of what they're
Well, yeah,
thinking.
I'm more
That
interested
might
in the
be it.
designs of certain characters, like Doom himself. Like that's
Mm.
the type of stuff I'm interested in, is to see how it's all gonna look because it's a movie. I'm gonna be looking at it. It better look good.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
true.
that's about it on the Marvel stuff. It was just more than I expected this week.
Okay, all righty then. All right, well, we stuck in a bonus Marvel segment up in here though, but we'll have another one again in the next episode because by that point the Daredevil show will be out, so I'll have some things to say about that with the first couple episodes or so. All right. That'll do it for the Marvel stuff. Let's go ahead and switch over to the traditional pop culture segment stuff because, man, Stephen, they went ahead and announced a new Avatar series. And I
Yeah,
looked at that mess and I was like, oh, shoot. I felt like it's been a long time since we had the conclusion of Legend of Korra, in which, for a lot of people, that wasn't necessarily a series that was on and popping for most people. I like season 1 and 2, don't get me wrong, but season 3 and 4 is where it was like I started scratching my head a little bit more. I was like, what are we doing over
see,
here?
I'm the opposite. I like season one. I don't like season two at all. I like
You don't
season
like the
three.
origins of like how they actually explain how the whole Avatar state
I
even
don't.
began? I
I
mean, that
don't
was the
like
most
the.
intriguing part of me
Okay,
at
I don't
season
like the
2.
villains in season two. I think season two is an extremely weak antagonist.
You know what? I can't even remember the antagonist. All I remember is just the
Exactly.
origin. The origin story was just the most captivating thing I
Like
took
yeah,
out of that
like
season
that's
2.
interesting, obviously. But then yeah, it's like the other stuff in season two that's just a little weird. And like obviously, like if you don't have a good villain, they can't really be invested in what's going on. So personally, in my opinion, season three is better with actual villains that are pretty cool. You have that one scene with the death of the Earth Queen is really really brutal.
But we can all agree season 4 was whack.
Well, yeah, it's fine. It's just like I don't know, it doesn't feel like a final season.
Yeah. So anyway, so we had that mixed bag of beans with Legend of Korra, but obviously everybody and their mama always remembers, the OG Team Avatar with Aang and stuff. In which that was so good to the fact that, I mean, obviously we've seen them do like live adaptations of it with some bad movies and though, but that one Netflix series show that they did recently, that was actually really good. I actually thoroughly enjoyed that mess. Encouraged me to go back and watch the original like for like the 17th time or whatever though. But I'm just glad we finally got confirmation that Nickelodeon's actually going ahead and just greenlit this new series
And
though. Now we did get like a little bit of a plot synopsis of like what we can kind of expect on it, but to wrap it up in a nutshell, it's just going to be based upon two Earthbender twins So you know how the trend of the Avatar cycle likes to go from like water to earth to fire then air. So like you remember Aang was air, and then it went to water, which Korra, that was her primary element. So now we're rolling on to earth. And I think it was like what? It's gonna be a female protagonist, kind of like how Korra was though,
She's gonna have a twin, I
but
think.
she's gonna have a twin. And I feel like the other twin, they didn't say, if it's a guy or a girl, but my gut's kind of saying a guy for the sake of diversity or whatever. Though I'm just thinking it's gonna be like twins, like how my actual sibling twins are. I feel like it's
I'm
gonna be
pretty sure
something
they
like that.
I'm pretty sure they
Did
said
they?
it would be a guy and a girl.
Hmm. I have to
Who
look back.
knows?
Yeah, I have to look back at my notes though. But I was like, but yeah, I think overall that seemed pretty interesting. But then it was like once you can get into like a little bit of like a little summary plot, like they were literally saying it was set in the world shattered by a devastating cataclysm. A young Earthbender discovers she's the new Avatar after Korra, but in this dangerous era, the title marks her as humanity's destroyer, not its
What did
savior.
Cora do?
I'm like, wait, what? And so they're hunted by both human and spirit enemies. That's when you know some stuff is bad. When you're hunted by all the people living in the natural world and the spirit world, it's like, oh shoot. And
I
she and her long lost twin must uncover mysterious origins and save the
hate
seven havens, before civilization's last strongholds collapse. So that's the little brief synopsis we got.
if I had to make a guess, because I don't think they're just gonna make Cora evil. Cora probably accidentally unleashed some great evil that like is breaking apart the world or something.
It's
Be-
either what you just said or she did something that ultimately was good for everybody, but everybody
but they
sees
didn't
it
know it.
as a negative, or they don't know the full ramifications of what she did, but it might have been in the best interest of everybody, even though it's going to give her a lot of hate, or whoever would have been the next Avatar, a lot of hate. It's one or the other.
Yeah, which like that makes sense. Like it really is just like no one's gonna know obviously until it comes to pass.
Yeah, so I like that because then it kind of sets the story up to be like a vigilante ish kind of thing. Like you got the Avatar on, basically. You know what? That's almost similar to the way how we kind of got the vibes for the first Avatar series with Aang and stuff. Like he was technically the last Airbender, but he was constantly on the move because the Fire Nation was constantly after him. Like Zuko and stuff was constantly hunting him. Now it's the same similar thing with this Earthbender, but it's not just one nation after it. It could be pretty much almost all the different nations, and then on top of it, the spirit world. So I think in some ways it's actually pulling some elements from the first series though. So now that I just thought about, I literally just thought about that now. Oh
Yeah,
shoot, we might be in for
but
a good one.
at the same time though, the main series did have a central, they had the central antagonist of the Fire Nation, which definitely kept things together nice and neatly. Like you had a main villain to kind of root against. We'll see what they do. I do feel like it's gonna be what I said, where Korra unleashed some kind of evil, whether she had to in order to do something good, or it was an accident. I feel like there's some kind of action that she took that caused this, and then that led to whatever's happening in the world now. Because it sounds like some kind of post-apocalyptic thing they're going for, like the last remnants of civilization and this and that.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, this little bit of plot that they gave us, and notice how it's not that much, but we're already rambling on so much about it, though.
Because I like
I
Avatar.
I like Avatar too. I'm all down. I'm also ready for them to do the what was it? I guess it will be the next book of the Netflix series. Like that mess was just that good though. But I'm just saying, like they're on and popping and they're on and cooking. Just execute it well. Don't let this be another core situation. But the roots of it seem very like the first series. So I'm like, I think we got a good one, Steven. I'm crossing my fingers
Well,
though. I think we got a good one.
also the fact that like they kind of refer to Korra in past tense, which makes me think this might take place way in the future. Korra had characters from Avatar showing up. this might take place way after all of them are
I'm
gone.
expecting at least what was it? Cora was roughly in her like mid 20, somewhere 20s to mid 20s or whatever. Though I imagine no less than like 80-ish years in the future from the end of what we saw within the Cora series. I
Yeah, like
imagine.
you might have some of like what's Aang's kid, a Tenzin, like some of his kids might still be around.
If they were around, I imagine they're going to be in like their 60s or something like
Yeah,
that.
but that's
Yeah.
probably where because they're probably gonna still. The fact that they
Because
mentioned
technically,
Korra,
yeah. Because I mean, Aang's family was like literally the last one of the Airbenders. So who? I mean, this Earthbender is gonna have to wind up learning Airbending. So they'll make that tie again with Aang and his
yeah.
descendants. But yeah,
Well, the fact that they specifically mention Korra makes me think she's gonna play some kind of posthumous role. Like even if she's not in the show directly, she's gonna play a big part, or maybe she'll show up in fucking spirit form or something. Who knows? Who knows what they'll do? I hope they do a good job because I like Avatar.
yeah. Just hoping they do a good job up on this one and just don't drop the ball. Just don't drop it.
Pretty
All right.
easy for them to do that, sadly. So hopefully they don't.
Yeah. All right, well, that's gonna be it for the Avatar stuff, and we'll roll it over to the what was it? Then we got like a couple of movie teasers slash trailers. We'll talk about the teaser here real quick because we did manage to get a first brief look at Shrek 5, and I was looking at this
Wow.
mess, and I was like, okay. First, I wasn't even looking at just the looks. I was just listening to the voices just to see if they got everybody back, and it sounded like everybody was good. And then I listened to Fiona's voice and I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like her. But I looked into the little stuff and apparently that's her. And I was like, I guess age will kind of do that for you. But the two dudes, they always got it. Eddie Murphy's voice is never gonna change. Like that dude's gonna always be the same. But then I looked at their child and I was like, wait, what? They got
Zendaya.
Zendaya up in here? I was like, oh shoot.
Zendaya's in everything nowadays.
Oh my. Hey, you know what? Zendaya's in everything nowadays. Just kind of like how Tom Holland nearly was going through a whole hot streak for a moment, though. I was
Oh
like, oh
God, if
shoot.
if Tom Holland, because Shrek had 3 kids, if they make Tom Holland one of
No,
his
no, no, no,
kids,
no, no, no,
really,
no, no.
lucky
Remember? Oh,
God.
oh, wait a minute. Oh shoot. For some reason, I was thinking like all their kids were girls at first. No, I think it was like what, one guy, one girl, and one more that I can't remember if it was a boy or a girl.
Well,
Oh
either
man.
way, like I'm sure Zendaya's probably the biggest casting choice because I'm sure they would have said if they got some other big actors.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean the voices are all good. I ain't worried about that. The only other thing we got out of the teaser was just the way how all the characters look. Which obviously, if you look at Shrek and you look at Donkey, yeah, you can tell some redesigning is going on. Like the kid, obviously, you don't have to worry about that because that's the first time we saw her grown up, so ain't really nothing to compare about. But when you look at Shrek and Donkey and compare them to where we last got them in like the third movie, it's like, oh man, they definitely got redesigned. Donkey doesn't
Yeah,
look as bad, but Shrek though, hmm.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like people are overreacting. Personally, like I don't personally think it looks terrible, but like yeah, I feel like they definitely should adjust it a little bit. But like people are acting like Shrek 5 is already gonna suck.
No, I don't think it's already gonna suck. I mean, because literally, it's just a tease. Like we don't have no plots and no really strong good look at it.
Yeah.
Yes, technically this movie was supposed to come out in 2025, but it's not really going to come out until like 2026 after we got this tease. So it did get delayed by a little bit though. So we still got to well, no, it's a long way to go cuz they said December of 2026. That's almost a 2027 movie by the time you say all that. So I mean, we still got a ways to go up on this mug.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Shrek designs. Donkey definitely is like the weirdest looking one, but like you can tell that he is older. But at the same
I
time,
think it
like
kind of works for Donkey. I feel like it
it,
kind of does.
I feel like the main thing that they changed is the eyes. I feel like that's really the only big change is like Shrek and Donkey's eyes kind of look more similar to the rest of the characters. I don't know. I feel like they made a similar change. Yeah, they made a similar change to like what I'd expect from like Puss in Boots 1, the Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Hmm.
And also the face, I guess the face is more like rounded. I seen an image and like yeah, there are a couple things that look a little weird. I don't know. It's not a big deal though. I see people saying that like Shrek 5's already gonna suck and this and that, and I'm like, oh, people are way overreacting.
Yeah, I mean, for the sake of for the sake of argument, I feel like this teaser does exactly what it needs to do. It gives you when the actual release date is or the new updated one, and on top of that, they give you like a good first look at all the characters, the redesign, and say, "Hey, we're gonna throw you a bone. It's been a while since we first originally announced this thing. Back when it was just the Shrek logo with five and everything. I remember we reported on that in one of our podcast episodes in the past, though. But it's just a little bit something more to go off of, and not too much more to really think of, at least for the time being. It's just if you're a Shrek fan, look forward to it. We got some stuff coming. All
Yeah.
right. Well, outside of that's pretty much it for that tease for Shrek 5. So in terms of the last major pop culture segment we have, it's that new Minecraft movie trailer. Like this is I think like the
Oh my
second
god.
biggest one that we got. And probably the last time we're gonna report on this until one of us sees this mess in theaters. Cause are you gonna see this mess in theaters, Steven, whenever it comes out, or you just gonna try to hold out until like they do like a digital release or like a
So
streaming service thing?
I am very curious because I do kind of want to go see it. I'll be honest with you.
Mm. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters unless I just have like a group of people that's like, I really want to go, and I'm like, oh goodness, I don't know, but we'll see how this turns out.
It
So
just it looks so bad that it's gonna be funny. That's like I think visually it's just gonna be like an eyesore. Like have you seen how the villagers look? They look disgusting.
I had to give out a big yawn. No, yeah, I looked at them villagers and yeah, they look disgusting, but I'm like, even in the game, they kind of look disgusting. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah, but
whatever. I wasn't really.
seeing them with a realistic skin texture and bushy eyebrows and still having like a block shaped head, it just
I don't know. I thought it was okay. Now, if we get what was it? Even in that trailer, like there was like one woman that hit him with a car or something like that. It let's just.
yeah.
I'm just gonna go off the road real quick. Bear with me. If for some reason if that woman starts to have like a relationship or something like with one of those villagers or something like that and gets intimate with it, okay, then that's where it's gonna get a little weird, really, a
That's
little
yeah,
weird and
a little
freaky.
hard.
Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know. I think the thing that like makes me like the least interested about this possibly is the just Jack Black or just the human characters in general. Jack Black as Steve is like one of the most phoned in performances I've seen in a while.
Man, have you seen those toys? Like they already started promoting the toys
Yes,
for the
they
movie,
look
and
awful.
they have a little literal Jack Black toy dude. I'm like, holy shoot, man, that's just kind of a
I
little odd. Mm.
Yeah, I seen the there's a Lego, they're doing Lego sets for the Minecraft movie and like Lego Jack Black doesn't look all that bad, but like it's hardly him. I seen the other toys and like one of them literally is just Jack Black. And I don't know. I know Steve looks like that, but it's just such a plain fucking outfit.
I don't know. I say the biggest concern I think with I say the biggest concern with this movie is just the fact that they should have just either done all CGI or slash animated and including what would be the human characters. And then I feel like the world wouldn't be as jarring versus you got like these realistic humans trying to run around in this world. I feel like it just kind of clashes a little bit too much.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I feel like it should have been fully animated and like in a different style. It's not a big deal, like I said, but ugh.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go see it probably day one, which it does sound contradictory, but
If
I
you
don't know.
do, then you gotta let us know and say, hey, was it worth it or was it a big disappointment? I don't know. I like a
Well,
lot of movies that Jack Black is in. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know, some of the decision making. Like if he was just voicing an animated character, we would have been all okay with it.
Well, yeah, I feel like it should have just been fully animated. Obviously, the only reason to not make it animated is for money. Are you really telling me someone had an artistic vision out there to make it live action? No.
Nah.
It's just weird to me. It's just confusing. Either way, I think this movie does have the potential to be one of the worst movies I've seen in a while, which could be really funny. I don't know. If I can like put on this movie and have it be like Morbius or Madam Web and just laugh at it, that's fine.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll
I'm
see.
surprised I'm surprised you're even interested in it. Like, are you gonna go see it or you're gonna wait for my review?
No, I'm gonna wait for your review. I ain't gonna see that mess in theaters. More than likely
Fair enough.
not. I'll watch it whenever it's on streaming or something like that. And then I'll be like, oh, okay. It doesn't feel like I'm hurting the wallet to go watch this because it's just gonna be in one of those subscription feed services I more than likely already have. So I'm okay with watching it after the fact when it's like that. But like to actually spend the time and a little extra money to go to the theater because you can't just go to the theater just to watch a movie. At a bare minimum, even if I manage to eat some food before I go home, before I go out there, I still always wind up buying the drink because it's like it's hard to sit through a big old long movie, 2 hours something plus,
Listen,
and not
I
have
don't.
nothing to drink. So I usually get myself a big old soda and this I always go to AMC's whenever I go and watch my movies. I get a big old soda, and then that way when I'm done with it, I can roll up at the end, clean that mess out with a little bit of water, and fill that whole entire giant thing with a big old icy, and I walk out the door with it.
Yeah, no, that's at the end of my movie. I always fill up my drink. I always fill up my drink and I fill up my popcorn, just so I can get my money's worth. Go have it at home.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the way to do
Even
it.
then, it's like back in the day, movies would have like intermissions to go get food and stuff,
Hey, I
which was
kind of I kind of miss that because hey, that will allow you to use the
yeah,
restroom though. But then at the same point, it'd be chaos having people to run out and then all come back in. They still do that with like theater shows and stuff, but like
I
regular old movies now.
like I guess.
Hmm. But yeah, a little side tangent right there though. But well, I don't know. We'll see how this mess turns out because it comes out here fairly soon. Like, when's the release date of this thing?
Of the Minecraft movie, I think it's April 3rd. It's kind of like right after the Switch 2 Direct, so we'll have a hell of a topic there.
No, we're gonna kick man. No, because when that sucker comes out, which I hadn't even looked on the calendar to see like did that perfectly lined up where I guess like what that Switch 2 Direct, that's literally gonna be in the middle of the week. Did it line up to
I
where it's
think.
just gonna be a few days after on the pod
Yeah.
normally, or is that an in between week? Let me see
Wait
here.
a second. Minecraft movie releases on April 4th, meaning the previews are gonna be on Thursday, April 3rd. I'm gonna watch the Switch presentation one day, and then the next day I'm gonna go see the goddamn Minecraft movie. What's wrong with me?
Shoot. No, I was looking at the calendar. Nah, that Switch 2 Direct happens a few days after we will have like episode 102. So
Oh yeah.
we will have an emergency. It'll either be a dedicated video that we'll just do on the side, or there'll be an emergency pod. Depends on how much information they give to us that week. Because
Well, considering
me and you gonna be on overtime on that day anyway.
yeah, considering that we basically know nothing right now, I'm sure we're gonna get a lot. But that's a topic for another time. We still have one more podcast before that day, or only one or two.
Two more, yeah, two more. All right, but yeah, that's gonna basically do it in terms of all the pop culture related stuff. And I'm gonna switch up the order of this one special episode just a little bit because you can't have and do all the same stuff in the same traditional order, especially with this being episode 100 though. So now we're gonna go ahead and jump over to what we've been playing. All right, Steven. So it's been a while. It's been a while since we kind of gave our updates in terms of what we've been playing though. But what have you been up to here lately?
I have been amassing a collection of GameCube games, quite a decent amount of them, honestly.
Okay,
I
okay.
well, I have a couple getting shipped to me, but once my collection gets shipped to me, I think it's gonna be 15 total.
Wait, hold on. How many did you have originally? Before you started going and buying all these GameCube games?
I had one.
Okay, so what was that one?
More okay, no, two. I had Mario Party 6 and I had Wind Waker.
So yeah, six and Wind Waker via you're doing that mess on your Wii.
I think
Okay,
it's easier for me to list the GameCube games that I've been getting.
okay, go ahead.
So in the last 2 weeks, I have acquired. Well, this is the full GameCube collection. I have Super Mario Sunshine, Mario Kart Double Dash, Luigi's Mansion, Metroid Prime 1 and 2, Pikmin 1, Sonic Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, uh, Mario Party 6 and Wind Waker, obviously, Super Monkey Ball 2, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. I have Tony Hawk's Underground 2 coming, I think. Yeah, Tony Hawk's Underground Skater 2. Um, Beautiful Joe I picked up. Uh, Soul Calibur 2, which Soul Calibur 2 is actually the one that has Link as a crossover character. So I'm excited to try that out.
Sonic, you can convince you to get that.
Yeah, he got me to. And
Uh,
guess what? It's probably going to be fun, obviously. Um, Resident Evil 4 I got, which I've played Resident Evil 4 before, but like playing it on original hardware is something I've always wanted to do. And then the last one I got just recently is Mario Party 7 because that was my childhood Mario Party. I don't know why I got rid of it, but I'm getting it again.
you gonna get the microphones and all that stuff too?
I'm not getting the microphone. The game even has a setting to turn off the mic mini games. I
Oh,
don't
but
need
I
it.
didn't know if you wanted just to get it just to say, hey, I have access to
Well, if
playing all the mini
here's
games.
the thing, getting the game with the mic is a lot more expensive than just buying the mic separately later on.
Ah, okay, that
For
makes
some
sense.
reason.
So I think out of all the stuff you listed, there was like 7 games that you mentioned that I already got, and then there's like 8 games that you're getting that I haven't. Which
Well, because
those were
I'm trying
mostly
to.
what Mario Party games because I only have 4,
I'm sure you don't
and
have Monkey Ball
third
2. I'm
party
sure.
and third party games. Yeah.
Yeah, like which listen, obviously the GameCube wasn't big just for its first parties. I kind of wanted to get some of the games that are synonymous with the GameCube. Like Resident Evil 4, that game released first on GameCube, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Like games that were a big deal to have on this system. And I've also just been looking for games that I wanted to play, single player stuff. I am eventually gonna get stuff like F-Zero GX, Smash Bros. Melee, but that's not on my priority list.
I got you.
Because I'm really hoping for some of those more expensive games. I'm really hoping Nintendo announces GameCube NSO already, so the prices will go down.
That would be actually a good thing. So then that way I can actually round up the more expensive games and stuff like that.
Because
That would be nice. Because
I'm
what was
pretty
it? Thousand
sure
Year
a
Door
lot of
went down the second that they announced that. Because it used
yeah.
to go for over like between 100 and 120. But I
Well,
think since they made that announcement, now it averages about like
Zard,
60.
I bought it for 60 in
Yeah.
perfect condition, complete in
Yeah,
box, and
60.
oh my god, it's so nice. That's how much it was in 2016.
In 2016.
I
Yeah.
looked. It literally took 8 years for this game to return to normal retail value, and it's crazy.
Goodness. Well, not perfect retail value because wasn't the original retail value of GameCube games was like
Probably
$50? Because I think it went
whatever.
up. It went up to 60.
Okay,
I think with the Wii.
yes, but if we're gonna account inflation, $50 back then is like $80 today. Probably. I don't know. I haven't done the math.
Oh man, don't even get me started on inflation. But
Either
close
way,
enough.
yeah, I've been testing a lot of these games. I played through like a decent amount of Pikmin 1 last night, for example, and played a little bit of Sonic Heroes, this and that. And playing these games with the I put the scan lines on and just, on a nice big TV, even if it's not a CRT, it just looks so nice. And if I have a way to capture these games finally, it looks really nice, and I have it all set up. The only thing is I have a little bit of a mess of wires, so I just have to get a longer cord to hide it all behind my TV.
Yeah, it sounds like you're having a good time over there. Cause I like how you talked about your GameCube stuff. Because actually, for me, I managed to pick up a few myself, literally within like the past week. I'm trying to remember what all did I get. One game I managed to get was Kirby Air Ride, which I ordered it. The
Ooh.
sucker still hadn't shown up in the mail. And I was like, what the heck? And I was starting to message that eBay seller. I was like, look, man, my stuff hadn't even came up here in the mail yet. And I saw they put that mess on priority mail, like USPS. So I was like, that mess should have got here within the first 3 days or something. And he's like, oh shoot. And then finally the dude messaged back. He's like, oh man, I was getting my phone fixed. And he was like, oh man, I'm just now seeing this. It should have been there by now, but I'll dig through my stuff to find that tracking number. I was like, you better find that tracking number. Gosh dang it. So anyway, I'm still waiting for that to show up in the mail. Cause that's like one of the few games that work with the broadband adapter, and I had that sucker too, so I want to kind of mess
Wait, I'm
around
I'm
with it.
sorry. I'm drawing a blank for some reason today. What game again?
Uh, Kirby Air Ride.
Yeah, Kirby Air Ride's definitely an interesting game. I'm only not picking it up because like, the city trial mode is like the main thing.
Yeah. So I got that, and then another one I managed to pick up was Mario Mix DDR, which I showed you pictures of
Perfect.
that one, and
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
I love that game personally.
you know what? I remember seeing all those people kind of go crazy over the DDR stuff, like back in the arcades and stuff. And I never had like the courage to step up there and do it because I think I got intimidated by some people or like some older people than me when they were on those little things, like holding the handrails and stuff and just moving their feet so fast and stuff. I was like, oh shoot, looks
Yeah,
cool,
it's
but I was like,
it's it's
I just couldn't.
crazy.
So I was
People are
like,
crazy.
I was like, I ain't doing this in the arcade. But now looking back at it, and I was like, oh, or now looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this in the comfort of my home. I can work my way up to that speed and stuff. And two, there's like there's some good remixes, like even some old original NES Mario music that just get remixed into this game right here. So the music in it is pretty solid. I'll say that though. And there's a lot more in this story mode than I honestly was ever expecting there to be within a Dance Dance Revolution game. So I was like, okay. And I even got the one with like the two dance pads included with it because a lot of people were just selling it with one in the box. But I did find one seller that was willing to sell it for two. He marked that sucker as high as like $130. I was like, nah, man, I know you've been sitting on this for a while. Like I literally put that message. I was like, hey,
Did you
I could take the
negotiate with them? I didn't know this.
no, yeah, because it was like 130 or best offer. I always like the people that do the best offer because I put in the message thing. I'll be like, hey, I know you've probably been sitting on this for a while. You got it marked for 130. Hey, if you're willing to depart with it for like $90, I'll go ahead and do it because I think most people were selling the game plus one of the pads for like 60 ish or
I've seen it
60
for
to
around an
70.
average. I was seeing it for around 90. You got lucky.
Yeah, I don't know. At least at the time I was looking at it, I thought I was seeing stuff between 60 and 70 for a game plus the pad. So I was like, oh, if you got two pads, then I'm willing to pay $90. That's fine. But yeah, I got lucky. I mean, granted, most of those people that sell that game, the box isn't necessarily in 100% best condition, but it's in a good enough condition for me to where I was like, oh, I got that what felt like a authentic experience with opening up
Wait,
something
you
from the
got like the
GameCube
square
era.
box?
Yeah, the square box with the Mario in the front and
Listen,
everything. I sent that picture in Discord.
yeah. When I was a kid, I had that exact game with that exact box. It's such a nostalgia trip for me, that game.
Yeah, so I'm taking care of the box because that's literally how I'm gonna keep up with the two mats because they got to go somewhere when I'm not using them. But yeah, so
Fair enough.
I had a fairly good time with that. The only thing I hate is you literally had to go through the whole story mode and beat it just to make sure you got enough music soundtracks you can do. So even if you want to just do a versus multiplayer thing with two people, then you have some songs to work with though. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's just gonna
Uh,
be a slow grind.
Also, the music in that game is so good.
Yeah.
Especially some of the songs. They have a remix of Bowser's Castle from Double Dash, like Chef's Kiss, like mwah. It's beautiful.
Hmm. Had to keep my eye out on that one though. That
You
sounds
when you
good.
get to it, you'll know. When you
Okay.
It's Bowser's Castle from Double Dash. It's just really good.
So yeah, so that was game number two. Then the last game I managed to pick up was Wario World on GameCube, and I was like, I picked that one up, and I was like, I was like, let me see, because I was eyeballing that one for the longest time ever since I started doing all my GameCube collecting and stuff, and I was like, I was like, you know what, this game right here, surprisingly a decent experience in terms of a platform collector and stuff. Like I always hear some people kind of using some of the Wario World music in some people's videos and stuff. But I'm like, dang, I was like, that
Yeah,
soundtrack though is good.
I I always hear I always hear the pause music everywhere.
Oh gosh, the one where it's just going like nah
Yeah,
nah
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, fucking.
nah.
It's really good. It's really good, but like, god damn, it's annoying.
It is because usually sometimes I'll put the game on pause just to
You just
do
hear it.
something, like if I got a text or something, or if I gotta run off. But then I hear that tune for a little bit, and I'm like, oh heck no! I will unpause it, walk to an area where once I killed enough enemies, where it's just kind of fine, where nothing's really gonna disturb me, because it's not like a Mario game where there's like a clock running in the top right corner. That way, I can just kind of let the game chill and I will do what I got to do and then come right back because I don't want to hear Wario just clamoring on with that nah 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 nah. Nah. I'm like, man, that mess gets old too quick. Oh
Oh, it
shoot.
does. Don't worry.
Ugh. But man, no, Wario, he's definitely a character to say the least, though.
That's a term I would use to describe him. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was even flipping through some of the manual stuff as well, and he literally was like, there was like one description of it. I took a while to share this to you whenever we're done with this mess, though. But like, man, that dude has a foul mouth up on him, though. He said some stuff that I don't think even modern day Wario would say anymore. I was like, oh shoot.
Well,
But my
modern
goodness,
modern day Wario basically only talks in WarioWare,
yeah.
and even not that much. Wario World was a truly different time. That's when they were still making Wario Land games. This game is kind of like a Wario Land game, I guess.
Yeah, and oh man. But regardless, though, I think that one might be like a hidden gem on the GameCube. I don't think a lot of people bought it in droves. 'Cause I feel like that was the last Wario World game they made. Or
It
yeah,
was the last. It was the last
that's
one
not
that
like
they
a
made that people
WarioWare
cared
game. That's
about.
not a WarioWare game. But yeah, I think outside of that, I haven't really been playing too much. No, I just been still kind of chipping away at Tales of Arise. It got in the back seat for me this week because I just had a lot of other stuff going on, and I was messing around with a few of those GameCube games I mentioned earlier, though. But I did manage to get. If you have played this game and you're sitting here and listening to this, I managed to get past a certain pivotal point once you get to the castle and you took out like a lot of the lords in the area, or from like region to region should I say, and then they give you like a whole nother anime intro or whatever, though. Like I feel like that's like act one complete. Like that's where I'm at in my Tales of Arise adventure, though. I've been thoroughly enjoying it, and I can see why a lot of people love the Tales series, though. The combat is something. It's grown on me just a little bit, but it's nothing like too wild, though. But I do like the fact how it is an action RPG and it's not necessarily turn based. Because what was it? I felt like I came off a turn based with Metaphor Refunds Hazio, so I was like, okay, it's nice to shake things up just a little bit, though. But I'm still enjoying my experience in that. Outside of that, that's all I've been playing.
I'm proud of you for saying the name of Metaphor correctly.
Sorry, I've been saying it like that for quite some time.
Yeah, I'm just ragging on you. Um, yeah, there's a lot of good games coming out. Just not a lot of good games I personally care about. Not to be mean to the people that do, but like I don't know, like you had Pirate Yakuza came out. Our friend Hax has been playing that.
That one looks fun. At some point, I will probably get around to playing
Well,
that.
'cause, yeah, you
When
at least
I
have
don't
played
know.
them. I haven't played a Yakuza game yet, and it really is mostly my fault. Like I have a lot of them.
Yeah, because I mean, like, even I had that big old collection though, but I'm literally going to treat that like the Kingdom Hearts series, where it took me a whole year to beat that series. So it might be something similar with Yakuza. It's just gonna be fit him in when I can get him in. I think outside of that, that's pretty much it in terms of what we've been playing. I know later on this month we'll have Xenoblade Chronicles X come out, so we'll be talking about that game whenever we get a little closer to its release date, though. But we've been seeing some good materials for it here lately, though.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to basically do it for that one segment right there, though. So now we're going to go ahead and shake things up just a little bit more now, because now we get to jump straight over into my ZardCast 100 episode reflections. All righty, Steven. Look, it's been a strong 100 episodes. And my goodness, where does the time even go? Like, I was going back through and listening to some of these older episodes. I went all the way back and listened to some clips of episode one. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, how did I even start off this series? You were there at the very beginning. Even in episode one, it was me, you, Pax, and I think Sonic Q. Like, it was us four in that very first episode.
I don't
And
remember me being there for the first episode.
yeah,
Damn, I gotta go listen to that.
yeah, so I was like, yeah, you were there. Well, when I rebooted the series, because originally the podcast series, it started off in the midst of COVID, and we'll go ahead and spill out the whole origin story of this thing though, because it really started off in the midst of COVID and stuff, and COVID had everybody in a tizzy, and then Sonic was over here like, hey, when are you gonna start that podcast episode? Because at the time, I was I wasn't even doing regular gaming related videos. Like, all I was mostly doing at that time, I think I was just doing anime reviews, and occasionally, if a topic was big enough I wanted to talk about it gaming wise, like for example, at the time I think Sword and Shield was out. I remember talking about that game in 2019 around Pokemon Day around that time. That's all I was done. I was mostly known for my anime reviews back in the day, and stuff though. So Sonic was always like, "Hey, when are you gonna do that podcast series or whatever?" Though, like, you should do a podcast. And he bugged me so much, I was like, you know what? I guess I might as well go ahead and make an attempt. I ran that mess for 6 episodes. Noticed how I could probably put a little more production up in there, or put a little bit more fanfare up in there, get a little bit more organized and stuff. And then I rebranded it as ZardCast, and ever since then, now we're 100 episodes deep. Oh man! And even though it kind of started off rough, like I remember, what was it? Even with the microphones that I was using back then, like I had an old Blue Yeti. It sounded okay at first. I don't know what the freak happened to that mess. By the time I got into like the episodes 20 to like 40-ish. And then it wasn't until much later, then I actually got like my Shure mic, which you see in all of my videos now, where it actually sounds solid. I was like, man, I was like, for a podcast series though, I will say this: like, I didn't have all the audio necessarily down. I was doing whatever made ends meet though. I was like, I was making do with this series though, and what was it? And in terms of like just having people on the show when I was doing that, like how I mentioned, like you were there in the first episode. I had Hacks, Mario, and Sonic Q randomly show up. I would say anywhere for like the first 50 episodes. They would just kind of pop in here and there or whatever though, just kind of saying some stuff. Some episodes they'll be there, some episodes they're not. Sometimes they'll come halfway in between the episode, like I'll be almost soloing it and then they randomly pop in or whatever though. So yeah, it was fine for the time being, but I never had like any strong consistency though. And then Steven, it wasn't until episode 70-ish. It might have been a couple episodes after 70, but around 70-ish was when I would say you started becoming extremely consistent to the point where I just say, "Hey, look, you get the title as a co-host." And ever since
I'll
then,
take it.
unless you were sick, in which case we might have rescheduled a couple of them. Like we've been running this show, me and you, consistently. We might have some guests here and there though. Like Kyle popped up in one like a handful of episodes ago, but no, it's very much my show as it almost is yours as at this point in terms of
Yeah,
just
we
saying whatever we want.
okay. So I was looking back at some old stuff. Um, September 10th, 2023. Switch 2 rumors. We've been doing this for a fucking while. We had we've had over 30 episodes since the Switch 2 has been rumored.
And you said I was going back to 2020. 2023 was the year when we had Tears of the Kingdom come out. Oh shoot!
Yeah, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this game looks so good. It can't possibly be running on Switch." Yeah, that's what we hoped.
Oh
We
goodness.
I guarantee when you went back to look at some old videos, how long did I ramble about the Switch 2?
I mean, shoot, you still ramble a lot, quite a bit, even up until this
I'm
day.
just so excited. It better be good. We're actually have it like in our grasp.
Mm,
Either way, like yeah, we've rambled about a ton of stuff over the last like 2 years or so. It's been a it's been a pretty crazy 2 years, honestly. Just in general, like the world, a lot has happened, but it also feels like it not a lot has happened. I don't know.
yeah, and
I've
then
been like I've moved and I've gone here and I've gone there, so I've been on a journey.
oh yeah, it's been a crazy journey because I was even going back and looking at it. And I was like, dang, I was like I'm trying to remember like what was the date on that very first. Okay, yeah, it was all the way back January of 2021. So that was like my first episode when I rebranded it as the ZardCast podcast series. So literally, we've been running two, three, four. Yeah, I've been literally running this podcast for 4 whole years, mostly on that bi-weekly schedule. There, towards the beginning, I was almost thinking about doing it weekly, but then we settled on bi-weekly. That, oh my
Bi-weekly's
gosh,
better.
yeah, no, it allows to get more topics up in there and stuff, and we're able to kind of get some breaks here and there, though. In which case, recently to coincide with the Zarcast podcast stuff, like we've been doing episodes of NSO verses, so that way, y'all as the fans, y'all can still hear me and Steven's voices every single week. You'll just get one that's a super casual, lay back, us playing some games and stuff. And then you'll see us just lay back, just talking the news and crap and whatever happened in the past 2 weeks, though. So you consistently get to hear both of our voices here on Sunday. So I think that evenly breaks things out, which I think this kind of goes to kind of compliment it because even in the lead up before this episode, as a big celebration thing, there is a Zardcast episode 100 celebration thing with me and Steven playing Mario Party 2, along with a guest, my good buddy Kyle. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to go ahead and check that out, though. But we had a blast in Mario Party 2. I won't say who
Well,
won or anything like
I
that,
wouldn't
just in
say
case you
you
have.
had a blast, but yeah.
Man, I kind of got close. Oh, shoot. Dang it, Steven. I said
Hey,
we were
I
going to
didn't
slow.
say it. I
Oh,
wasn't
shit. No,
spoiling
you
nothing.
did. You alluded to that mess. No, I don't want to hear it. Oh, goodness. Anyway, though, back on topic though. But yeah, no, this Darkcast podcast, like, oh my gosh, it's just been nice just to be able to sit back and do this mess bi-weekly on every other Sunday, just knowing that hey, a lot of stuff because it all stemmed on Sonic obviously pushing my buttons and saying hey, go ahead and do a podcast series though. But I always wanted just to be able just to casually talk to people out there, whoever happens to be listening to this. Like you might be a long time viewer of the channel though, or you might just be, listening to the pod whenever enough interest pops up with whatever we happen to be talking about that given night or whatever though. But it all basically kind of stemmed off of that. Like you see other YouTubers out here just saying, whatever they want with whatever topics that happen to pop up. Some they kind of force certain stuff out there to say, hey, at least we got to stay consistently or whatever though. In terms of like what they would think that other people would want to hear, or you just get some other people out there that just casually talk about stuff or passionately or whatever though. But everything that I always ever put out here on this channel has always been something that I thoroughly wanted to actually talk about, experience, or just share. And that's literally what all encompasses on my ZardCast podcast. Like I never truly felt like I forced any one of these topics up in here. Nothing that I really never didn't want. That definitely stems from the pop culture stuff. Because look, I could talk about a million ones different things in pop culture. We could talk about politics. We ain't gonna bring up that. Me and Steven ain't gonna bring that mess up though.
Well,
But
we're not
literally,
going to talk about politics because I don't think either of us give a shit about politics, which is
we, we
completely fair.
we don't to a I'll say to a degree.
Okay,
To a degree,
okay,
it's just more so the
okay.
personalities.
Listen,
That's all we're going up in this mess
we
though.
okay. Listen, even if one of us cares about it, we don't care about it enough to actually mention it like all the time. Some people make politics their whole goddamn personality, Zard. You know this.
Yeah, we know this. There's some weird people out there on the internet. Let's keep it above 50. I imagine there's probably people that do podcasts on just that though. But
Oh,
regardless,
definitely. That's basically like what a I was gonna say what a presidential debate is. It's a
yeah.
podcast. But no.
Yeah, so everything in terms of pop culture, whether it be like certain movies that happen or certain really popular memes, like man, I never forget about that one meme that started off one of those years where it was like the dude that jumped the judge and cleared that obstacle.
That was so funny. I think that was the beginning of last year.
I think it was the beginning of last year. Like that was the way to set the tone for the whole year. So funny moments like that, or just cool things that we just seen with like certain movies, where it'd be like a Godzilla movie we just really like, or like a Kong or whatever. And then also the fact that when we go through and just talk about Marvel, because this is like the main avenue when we kind of talk and gush about Marvel, the good, the bad, and the ugly lately though. But I just like how it just allows us to speak our minds and just throw things out there to the void. And whether it sticks. It doesn't stick. It doesn't stick though. But it just allows us to have an avenue just to chat and just say certain things, share different things. That's the whole point of what a
Yeah.
podcast is. So 100 episodes in, I'm just glad we're still keeping up with this mess.
Yeah, I just like being able to talk about stuff that I like because I usually always have a lot that a lot to say. If it's something I like, which most of the topics I usually care about, unless it's I'm very specific about the Marvel stuff I care about. But like I try to talk about it. Like there's especially when we're talking about that Nintendo stuff, I really rave on. I'm a sucker for my Switch 2 rumors, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, we all know about it at this point. Whether you like it or you don't like it, Steven's gonna
It's
rant
never
on
gonna
his
stop.
he gonna rant on and on about it though. But no, it's a good bad thing. I'll say that it's just a good bad thing. But yeah, honestly, I feel blessed that I've been able to meet good friends such as you, Steven, and all of our other good buddies that happen to support the channel one way or the other, whether they were on and talking for some of my past podcast episodes or gave me the inspiration to actually do this, like Sonic though. I just want to go ahead and throw it out there. Thank you all for all of y'all's love and support, as well as all of the wonderful viewers and stuff, some of my other friends and stuff that happen to be listening to this pod. Hey, much mad respect to you, because if it weren't for y'all, I would have stopped this mess a long time ago. But here we are, 100 episodes in. So here's to many more until well, when I can't just do this thing no more, which I don't see that being an issue anytime soon though. But Steven, you had any other last words or any last memories?
It has been very fun doing the podcast. Um, I don't really have much else to say because I don't know. Like I already said the thing about Switch 2, and I feel like that's my defining character trait at this point.
Hmm. Okay.
Either way, it has been very fun, and I can't wait to do 100 more. Can't you?
Oh yeah. I don't know where 100. What was that? Where would that put 100 episodes? Oh no, I can't do the math. Well, hold on. I say I can't do the math. That's like 50, 50 ish. That would have been. Oh yeah, no, it would be. Oh yeah, because we did 100 episodes in 4 years. So the bi-weekly schedule keeps up.
Well,
That'll be 4 more years from now.
it's also I guess the one other thing I will say is that the ZardCast is always a good time capsule for me. They look back and see what I was thinking during that time, what we were doing,
Oh yeah, no,
the excitement
it is
for
a good
certain
time
things.
log. It definitely is because I went back and you know what, and I'll go ahead and say this out here before we move on to the gaming news though. If you hadn't listened to some of those past episodes, I'll just go ahead and inquire all of y'all to be like, hey, just go back and listen to any one of our episodes. Start back on episode one. Just skip around a little bit, see what we were talking about then. Listen to the sound quality on some of our mics though, because like I know mine was bad at some point. Steven, I know yours was horrendous at other points. Like we didn't have this mess down with Discord just yet, and then to see the evolution as you go on for like episode 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, or if you want to do it on the fives like a 25, 35, 55, or whatever though, just look at where we started to where we at right now. Like shoot, I used to just throw up like a standard old background that just covered the whole entire thing, or whatever we're just talking about. Whatever you would see on the TV screen right now on YouTube was just the whole entire screen. And then now I got it to where now we got bouncing avatars, an actual podcast studio thing that looks in the background, a TV thing that's like lightning glowing up, like fancy seats that you're sitting on, the podcast mic on my mascot. Like I
I
came a long
also
way with my production stuff. I'm
and
not
I
trying to
and
toot my
then
own horn.
and then I also optimized your computer so your RAM wasn't being completely destroyed by OBS.
Now that was an issue that popped up a little more recently, though. I'm not sure what was
Just
going on
funny.
though, but I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
just funny how these computer programs are so demanding for the smallest things.
you got
I
that
don't know.
right. I don't know.
Because it runs like 15,000 things in the background, and you'd never be able to tell unless you're proficient in that stuff. For me, like I'm just as clueless as you with it.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
just once I noticed it myself, I was like, "Hey Zard, check your settings." Case in point, anyone that's listening to this, um, don't buy a computer. It gets so complicated.
Oh, what, Steven? Hold up. No, I'm not saying all of that. Holy
That's
shoot.
what
There's
I'm
a lot of
saying. I never
no,
said you
there's
said it.
no, there's a lot of stuff you can do with a computer. All right, that's a whole nother man. You open up a big old can of worms right now. Don't listen to what this man says.
Yeah,
He
I'm
can say a
yes,
lot
yes,
of good things though, but that
yes.
ain't it right there.
Yeah, I might be a little tired. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Listen to any advice I give.
Oh goodness. All righty. Well, that's it in terms of my ZardCast reflections for episode 100. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to listen to our Mario Party 2 our little gameplay session celebrating the 100 episodes though. So thank y'all all for the love and support, and here's to many more and to the next 100 episodes. But yeah, that's going to do it in terms of that segment right there. So we're going to go ahead and switch it over to the very last segment of the night, that being what's in the gaming news. All right, Steven, we got a few topics to go through and roll through tonight, but man, oh man, the Nintendo Switch game vouchers and gold coins. When I saw that news mess break out, I was like, wait, what the heck is Nintendo doing over here? We'll start with the game vouchers first, though, because apparently they made the decision to say, hey, these Nintendo game vouchers that you used to buy them, you buy these two sets of vouchers for like $100. So if you were buying like a game that was selling at the normal $60 price, by the time you bought two of those games, you essentially saved $20 or whatever. Though it was always a really good deal. I don't understand why they took it away for a period of time. At least for us here in America, Europe and Japan consistently ran these things since the moment they were introduced. But then they
It
brought
was
them back to North America,
with
and
Mario Maker 2. Mario Maker 2, they made a big push for them. They had a whole like they had like a whole 5-minute segment in the Mario Maker 2 direct just advertising game vouchers, and then they got rid of them until 2021.
Yeah, so I don't know why they took them away and then brought them back, but essentially now they made the announcement that if or whenever the Switch 2 does come out, you won't be able to use these game vouchers on exclusive Switch 2 titles. So like let's say Mario Kart 10 or no, we said
It's
Mario
gonna
Kart
be
9.
nine.
We said 9
Nine. We're not doing this
until
today.
further notice. So Mario Kart 9, if that's which I'm awfully sure it would be a Switch 2 exclusive title, you wouldn't be able to use the game vouchers for it though. And then for some people, they're like, "Oh man, why in the world that's the case?" But when I started sitting down and thinking to it myself, I was like, "That makes a lot of sense because there's a good chance that Switch Two games they could just mark those things up and say, "Hey, these are now $70 a pop." I mean, we kind of already got alluded to that idea with Tears of the Kingdom costing $70 already, so it makes sense because they will technically be losing money if you're able to use these vouchers on them. But how do you feel about all this?
Um, I don't get it. Personally, like I understand Nintendo Switch 2 games not being eligible for them. Maybe it's because they're called Nintendo Switch game vouchers. They don't want people to think. They don't want consumers to get confused. But they could very, very easily just make it like just say because you buy it on the eShop. You can't buy these things separately. You could just very specifically put like only available for games on the Nintendo Switch system. You know, not available for any Switch 2 games. The game vouchers literally show what games they are eligible for. So I personally don't get this.
I mean, I still don't feel like this is real, like super big major news. I feel like they just had to kind of put that out there because somebody was probably going to try using these vouchers for an exclusive Switch 2 game because that's all they said. Ideally, based on the wording that they gave us, you can still use these things on the Switch 2, but
Oh,
only
you
for Switch or regular
well
Switch
no,
1 games,
that's the
just
thing
not on the
though. They
Switch 2.
said in March they're just getting rid of game vouchers in general.
Hold on. No, 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 no. I did
Yeah,
not. Hold on. No, no. I'm pulling up the Wario 64 quote right now because it literally said
pull it up.
Nintendo Switch
I
game vouchers cannot be redeemed for games exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2 system. And even in the finer print, it says
but
Nintendo Switch game vouchers cannot be redeemed for games exclusive to, well, it's basically the same thing. Not exclusive
yeah,
to
but
the
no. But
Switch
if you
2
look before
system.
that, yeah, the tweet before that was them confirming that they would just not be available on Switch 2 in general. Or just switch it. They would be stopping selling them. They're not going to be selling them anymore after a certain point. Zard.
Mm,
They said this.
I'm rolling through the stuff right now. I
Yeah,
don't
you
see
can look
that.
for it, but
You gonna have to send
they
me that
did
because
say
I'm
this.
like, I
That's the
are you
whole
sure you're
reason
not
why
mixing
people
that
are
mess
getting
up with the
mad.
gold coins?
I'm
I saw
I'm
more
90%
people.
sure.
I seen more people upset with the gold coins, rightfully so. That made
Well, yeah,
perfect
oh yeah,
sense.
that was
But the Switch
one
vouchers
second.
not nearly as much.
Let me make sure.
I think you got it switched up a little bit because I did not see
I want to
anybody
make
say
sure.
that.
I could be wrong.
Because that's all I have in my notes, and I'm pretty sure I had all this stuff set in stone. Obviously, before we went on air with this mess, though. But I mean, I don't know where you're seeing all of this.
I'm trying to find it.
Well, while he's trying to find this, though, I mean, like what I said,
Okay, wait. Okay, I am wrong. I
see,
swore that they. Yes, no, you're right. I swore they also said they were discontinuing the vouchers.
no,
No, it's just gold points they're discontinuing. Either way, Nintendo Nintendo is taking the good deals away from the customer, no matter how you slice it. Which I personally am kind of irked by.
yeah. So I mean, it makes sense because of the whole pricing structure, but that kind of leaves room for them to kind of do some new stuff with the Switch 2, which we don't know. But notice the timing on all of this mess. We kind of got hit with this announcement roughly about a month before they're about to kind of showcase off all of the features and stuff to kind of look forward to with the Switch 2. And notice how that was basically all announced before the end of their fiscal year as well. So, I mean, until we see all of the stuff with the new system, I mean, don't get too much into a bad tizzy because there could be some other stuff to come that we're just not privy to yet because they hadn't shown all their cards left on the table though. But I think that's all we can say about
Oh
the
yeah,
Switch voucher stuff for now. But we can
there's a
go.
possibility we don't know about some new exclusive program, but we'll see.
Yeah, so then we'll flip it over to the other side of the coin because oh shoot, you like that pun right there. Because they did manage to say that we are gonna discontinue the gold points. Now, this right here, I was okay with the game voucher stuff. That made perfect sense. Business wise, that made perfect sense. So I understood that.
I
It's
don't
not like,
get gold points.
but the gold points though, they said we're stopping that mess cold turkey roughly. What was it? When was the actual date that that sucker is actually going to stop?
March something. That's what I was confusing. I was confusing that with
March
the other thing.
25th, which is like 5 days after Xenoblade Chronicles X. So technically, Xenoblade Chronicles X is going to be the last game that you can buy digitally on the eShop for the most part. Asterisks on that one. That you would be able to normally buy on the eShop and still be able to get gold coins. Now, just a reminder for those out there or for those that don't quite understand how the gold coins stuff kind of work, you're always rewarded with gold coins anytime that you bought a game off of the eShop. And it was always equivalent to roughly for every $20 you might have spent on the eShop, you were getting like a dollar's worth of coins. So if you bought a
Yeah,
$60 game, they gave you $3 worth of coins. And literally for every single gold coin you got, equivalent the equivalent of it was like 1 cent in American currency. Might be slightly a little bit different if you're living in a different region, though. But at least here in America, that's how it was. Now, if you happen to buy a game physically for like a $60 game, like if you bought Breath of the Wild physically, something like that, you wouldn't get $3 worth of gold coins. You got like 60 cents worth. So it was like 1% compared to like almost like 5%. So they were trying to incentivize you to buy more games digitally. So it made sense. And for that reason alone, a lot of people love gold coins, especially for those out there that like to buy a lot of their games digitally, whether you're just like an indie game player or you just like having an all digital system. I know some people that just have all their stuff digitally and stuff though. So they were probably making a lot of bank off these gold coins. So much so you can buy almost whole games, DLC expansions, whatever with all these gold coins. But the fact that they're saying they're going to stop this mess after March 25th, that's just wild right there. Like I,
well,
I I don't fully understand
it
this. I know something could be coming in the future, but completely
well,
stop it for all Switch owners, like gosh.
it makes me because you can obviously still use the gold points you've already accrued. They're not completely cutting off the gold points you've earned. But it really does make me think. There's one of two options. Either they do have some sort of new reward system for Switch 2, or they're just, it's the monkey's paw. We get one good thing from Nintendo, we get one bad thing from them. I don't know.
I think
Like,
it
we're getting a new system, but they're going to be more stingy again. That's what I'm hoping isn't the reality of it.
I'm kind of hoping, obviously, like what I said earlier, with the new system coming out in literally well, not coming out in a month, but being announced within a month, like the full blown information for it though. I imagine since technically Switch games are still going to be working on the ecosystem for the Switch 2 and stuff, and they're trying to also obviously trying to include how they might have to price some things with Switch 2 games because I imagine these things are just going to be naturally a little bit more expensive than just your standard Switch 1 games. I feel like this is just going to be like a grand rebooting of the reward system because I feel like you have to incentivize people to still buy your games digitally when they can because obviously they make more money when we go and buy a game digitally off of their storefront versus buying it from a retailer, which the retailer takes so much of a cut of it though, and you have to produce all the plastic, you have to, ship all the stuff though, you got to pay for that gas to get all the way over to the retailer and stuff. Like they lose a lot more money us buying the games physically versus them getting it digital. And even when you look at the competition with PlayStation, PlayStation has PlayStation Stars, which you can accumulate so much of that and get $5 PlayStation Network codes. And I think Xbox has something similar though, but you can use up the little bit of currency you build up with them to even buy stuff like off of Amazon, like Amazon gift cards or whatever though. So I feel like Nintendo still needs to have something like this, but the fact they took it down for like all Switch owners moving from that point forward, it really makes me think, hey, there's going to be a new system that's going to get involved into the thing because that's crazy because it's not like they're not going to stop supporting the Switch when the Switch 2 drops because, those games are still going to be backwards compatible. You still have some third parties that are going to look at that 150 plus million user base and say, hey, we might just want to put a game or have it be an option to put up on that system now. So people are still going to be buying Switch One games. So it's like you got to give people some kind of incentive.
I hope so. I really hope they know what they're doing.
I hope so too, but I don't know. I don't know. It had me scratching my head. But literally, that's the only thing I could possibly think of is just them rebooting the sucker and just doing a little bit more of a seamless reward system where it does the best of Switch One and the upcoming Switch Two. Otherwise, it really doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, because they're obviously keeping NSO because the name Nintendo Switch Online. Like, there's a ton they are keeping going into the new generation. It's
Yeah.
just very, very interesting. Very, very interesting choice.
hmm But yeah, outside of that, that's pretty much it in terms of the gold coin stuff. So we'll keep you informed if they do happen to change anything between now and then, though. But fingers crossed they give us something good, at least for that. And next up on the topic list, oh man. Well, I'm sorry, y'all. We went from like slightly negative to like pretty negative to like, oh gosh, like I don't know what could actually happen next though. But apparently, there's a game that was on Nintendo Switch Online that managed to get pulled. And to the best of my knowledge, when I was going back and looking at all this mess, this might be the first somewhat major game that got pulled off of NSO for the first time. Because most of the games, whether it be an NES, a Super Nintendo, even a Sega Genesis game, 64, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy slash Game Boy Color, all those games that got put into the service, we really aren't used to them pulling them back. Even though if you look at certain other competition, like with PlayStation and stuff, with PlayStation Plus, like the extra tier, they always adding in new games, but at the end of the month, sometimes they'll take away like a handful of games and stuff. So we're kind of used to it with that, not necessarily so much with NSO. And with the game that they're actually pulling away, it's actually a game called Super Soccer, and let's keep things a buck 50 with everybody, Steven. Ain't nobody cares about this game getting removed. It's more
It's
so about the
yeah.
premise of it. Like it
It's
could
the
affect
it's the
something
principle.
else. Yeah, the
It's the
principle.
principle. Like, they could just get rid of Earthbound for no reason besides we wanted to. I'm not saying they would, but I'm also not saying they couldn't. This is fucking Nintendo. This is the company notorious for keeping stuff in their vault, Zard.
Yeah. So at least with this one, it's not like a first party game. Because if it were a first party game, oh yeah, that would have had everybody a little bit upset though. But this one was a third party one, so I don't know. Maybe they had a certain licensing with them in terms of like how long they can actually hold on to it or whatever. No, I imagine that has to be the case because at least with first party, that should never really be an issue. But if like let's say if gosh, it really wouldn't never happen though. But let's just say, oh, they just take down Mario 64 or something like that, then you know that's a pure Nintendo decision at that point. Then really everybody's gonna be scratching their heads and be like, oh shoot, like what the heck is gonna be next? Because with it being first party, they have all the control over that versus a third party where you have to license and do all this stuff out. So yeah, so it is a little bit unfortunate that that just kind of goes to show that even though you might have a really cool subscription based service fee and you're able to not own, but you're able to have access to playing all these different games. It's not necessarily games that you don't own. And I see some people always coming out of the woodwork like, man, they should definitely bring back oh what was it? Dang it, Steven, what is it called? Virtual console. They said, man,
Yes.
we ought to bring back virtual console, and to that I still say, heck no. I don't want to buy
I
Mario
listen.
One for like the fifth time. I get why you
Here's
might want
my
to own some
opinion.
of them, but
My opinion is that you should have both. You should have virtual console where you could buy individual games you like, or you could buy NSO and have the rental cloud system. It's like how on Netflix you could download certain movies and stuff.
yeah, that would be cool.
Here,
I think it's
here's
just more so like the
right.
licensing with all of that stuff, though. I mean,
Here's how
in the
you fix
perfect
it.
world, that's how it should go because I think PlayStation lets you do that with some of their stuff on the extra tier or whatever, or the premium
Here,
stuff.
yeah. Here's what I think they should do. I think they should sell like packages where you could, get like NSO Greatest Hits. Let's just call it NSO Greatest Hits NES Edition. Sell most popular NES games on the service for $20 and sell like 30 of them. I don't know. Just do a couple collections like that. Still uses the same emulator, still has the same menu, but it's just an offline version, maybe even a physical version. Do that. Make it just a physical version or something. So, the emulator version of those games is still preserved somewhat. So,
I'm
let's
gonna
just
play
say
devil's advocate with you, Steven. If they were to do that mess, let's keep it a buck 50. How many people are gonna go out there and probably buy? I don't know with NES, but definitely if it were a different system like N64 or something, and say, hey, this is the greatest hits of all the N64 games. They pay that upfront charge and they never subscribe to NSO again, even if it was like the expansion pack tier or just the basic tier or whatever. No,
fair
I feel
enough,
like
but like
that's the main
a lot of
reason why we probably don't have another
okay.
option.
Yeah, but no one's buying a Switch just for their NSO. I don't think anyone's buying NSO just for the retro games. You're buying NSO because you want to play Switch games online.
Yeah, but you
Even
can't
better
argue
yet, you
the
want to
fact
play.
that the longer
It
that
might,
this
yeah,
system
might
has been on
persuade.
the market, I mean, shoot, you're able to play a lot of good old games up on here though, all for like the low price of like what, 20
Yeah,
bucks
but
or slash
at
50,
this
but
point, but I feel like that's an argument supporting it. At this point, with how many games they've done for the service, maybe at this point we kind of do deserve like another. If they give Switch 2 like GameCube, then they should give us that have already subscribed for however long another one. Or even just make it so only NSO subscribers can buy this thing. How only NSO subscribers can buy the dumbass controller. Make it so only NSO subscribers can buy an exclusive physical edition of NSO Greatest Hits. Make it like a Club Nintendo, like it's like a
oh,
collector's
well,
item.
if you did that for the physical one, then okay, maybe.
I personally don't see anything wrong with doing it like that.
I guess. I mean, I wouldn't put it past
Of course,
Nintendo to
people
do something like that.
people would get mad, but like Nintendo could just go like, "Oh, this is an optional item for collectors." And then obviously it's a preservation thing, preserves this version of these games. Like there's a lot of people that play like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but for speedrunners, there's like differences between like virtual console versions and the original versions of some games.
Mhm.
And like a lot of people do like preserving those versions and also just the convenience of playing these games on the go. That's another thing. When the Switch eventually does like get NSO shut down, you're just not going to be able to access all that stuff. Yeah, of course, Switch Online might continue to the next system, but like, a lot of people still have their Switch 1. They don't Nintendo doesn't want those people to feel neglected.
Yeah.
We'll see. There's a ton of solutions they could do.
Yeah. I feel like give it enough time and we'll see some kind of solutions or maybe some alternatives or something like that. Because I feel like it won't be too much longer until Nintendo probably throw in a whole new console tier or whatever though. Shoot, they can give us something akin to like a GameCube if they want to do something with Sega like a Dreamcast or whatever though. Maybe we. Yeah, no, I think we is definitely possible. GameCube, maybe we. I don't know. Depends on how crazy they are
I
with remasters and stuff with
Well,
GameCube
maybe
games because we did see that.
if the motion control in the damn Joy Cons is better, then I'll be fine with Wii.
No, I mean literally that's all they got to do is just say, "Hey," because remember they've been giving us authentic controllers for every single NSO console, like the NES controllers, the Super Nintendo ones, the 64 ones. GameCube be really easy. They'll just give you that adapter again, but then they also will probably sell wireless controllers that will just work with that though. But with Wii, the way how the Wii worked and stuff, it probably will actually give you a sensor bar, a USB sensor bar, and you just plug that mess into the dock. That will solve almost everything that you can do within
Yeah, I
with the
guess.
Wii ones and stuff. Which then I'm like, oh, we can play the good version of Skyward Sword all over again, where I can actually run and slash and do everything I need to do. Granted, I know it won't be in HD though, but I don't know.
It
There's some
also
things I
is a
like
lot
about the Wii stuff.
slower and also not 60 FPS.
I don't know. I don't know. It's some minuscule things I just like about that Wii version Skyward Sword. Anyway, though, I digress though. But I would love to see Wii games and GameCube games make the jump to NSO. Definitely will help making some
Well,
of these.
I would like it mostly because I still am kind of sour about them not doing Galaxy 2 and 3D All Stars. Like, yeah, I know they wanted one of each, but Galaxy 2 is just as good as Galaxy. Don't ignore it.
Just as good. It's better than Galaxy One. Are you kidding me?
No, it's not.
Oh, Steven, no, no,
We're
we ain't
not
having this
doing
debate.
this. Galaxy 2 is a great game, but it does not it is not like better or worse. It's got its own strengths and
Man, it's
weaknesses.
better because of the sticking gameplay up on there. You just have more ideas up on there. You're globe trotting around the whole entire galaxy, and you got my boy over there
Globetrotting.
Yoshi, which is not even there
Yeah,
and present in the
okay.
first game. So don't
It
come to
does
me with this mess once
have
don't have
Yoshi.
the argument ready.
You're right about Yoshi. All right, we're not gonna have this. We're not gonna have this talk today. It does have Yoshi. You're right.
All right, so we're gonna end it on that note. End it on that good
Yes.
high note. So outside of that, back to where we were. Um, NSO games getting stripped away. It was basically inevitable because with a subscription based service, I mean nothing's gonna stay perfect and perfectly intact from start to finish. So you're gonna expect to see some stuff like that though. So I don't know. Expect more third party games being pulled here and there though. But once they start doing first party stuff, oh man, then we're gonna have some issues though. We'll cycle back around to this mess if that day
We
ever does come.
we can simply just hope that that does not happen.
Yeah. All right, but that's pretty much it for that. And then the last major topic of the night, we managed to have the Pokemon Presents presentation. They managed to announce quite a bit of stuff, but let me go ahead and shove a lot of these announcements out the door real quick though. I mean, every single Pokemon Presents, it never fails. You have Pokemon Go, Pokemon Master Sex, Cafe Mix. They did not show. No, no, they did. Pokemon Unite. Then they have Pokemon Sleep, and now with the newest entry, Pokemon TCG Pocket. They always show off all of those mobile games back to back, and they fire them away one after the other. I will say it felt a little quicker this year in terms of them going back to back. So I don't know, yeah. And then obviously they'll do any kind of anime collaborations and stuff like that. Like they were talking about the Concierge or something with the Netflix series or
Yeah,
whatever though.
that series already came out. Like they're doing a season two, but it's all I can say is art. It's like stop motion animated. It's a beautiful looking show. I haven't watched it though.
No, I hadn't watched it either. They did say they're gonna drop like a first handful of episodes on YouTube, so maybe I'll just sit down and at least watch one. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, they managed to get all those announcements out the door. So then we kind of got to the midway point where it's like, all right, this seems about the time when you actually say something a little bit more meaningful, something a little bit more for console owners, outside of the people that probably did like that first half of everything that was announced. If you're just a Pokemon diehard, you just play nothing but Pokemon or whatever though. And the next one they showed off, it was interesting. I was looking at it and I saw the little tease that led up into it. They start off with the Game Boy. people playing on those GBA, DS, 3DS, up to the Switch. I was like, what is this thing? And it turned out to be Pokemon Champions. And then I started sitting down and thinking about this because they said, hey, you're able to basically, it's just a battle centric focused game. And not only were you able to play this on the Switch, you can play it on mobile as well. And the more and more I sat down and thought about it, Steven, I was like, this is essentially Pokemon Stadium 3.
Yeah, I we don't know much yet. They were very, very vague about like what's actually gonna happen in the game, what it looks like, what if it's gonna be live service or like all they told us is that you'll be able to connect your Pokemon from home, and I'm assuming the game will use rentals besides that. But they did show footage of Stadium and then showed off this.
Yeah. So at least when I was looking at this, because like what you said, they didn't give us too much. I think that it's a smart decision for those that just really love the battle, and it actually kind of gives a little bit more say so if you're able to use every single Pokemon period that's in home
No,
and dump them all up in there. I mean, we don't know those details yet. I mean,
they
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 could
did
say
say
no.
they did say National Dex is not gonna be a thing.
Look at they say national decks could not be a thing, but they say you can drop your Pokemon from home. I don't know. I guess they'll just drop those Pokemon
That's what the
compatible in waves or whatever. I don't know.
mm,
Regardless of the fact
yeah.
that you say you can drop Pokemon from home, it kind of gives a little bit more incentive for saying, hey, these Pokemon that are sitting at home, they actually have a little bit of something that they can do, especially if they can't move to a certain game like Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet or Legend ZA or Arceus or whatever though. That kind of gives
Well,
them
I'm
a little
pretty
bit
sure
something to do.
there are only five Pokemon that are stuck on. I think it's only five Pokemon that are actually truly stuck on 3DS. It's
Stuck on
those like yes, it's those elemental monkeys from Gen 5, and it's one of the Pokemon actually was just shown in Legend ZA. It's the Patrat, small little Gen 5 guy.
oh, I got you. Yeah.
But like those Pokemon were kind of stuck in home because you could not transfer them to a Switch game.
Hmm.
But they're gonna fix that, I bet.
Yeah.
And then once Legend ZA comes out, you'll have like you can transfer your Pokemon to any game. Like any Legends combined through Sword and Shield, the Legends Arceus, and Scarlet and Violet, and also
Brilliant
Let's Go.
Diamond, Brilliant Diamond and
Well,
Shining Pearl.
Legends Arceus. Well, BDSP and Legends Arceus have the same decks. It's
Do
just
they
the Sinnoh
though?
Pokemon.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean the Sinnoh
yes,
Pokemon,
all
yes,
of
but
the
I didn't
Sinnoh
know if there was like
Pokemon.
some weird ones that they do in the underground. I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I know for a fact all of the Sinnoh Pokemon are in both BDSP and
That
Legends
yeah,
Arceus.
that makes sense. Yes, I was just talking about some
That
of the ones
covers
that
that.
weren't necessarily Sinnoh ones, but
Well, Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield brought back a ton in DLC.
yeah. But I think outside of that, like, I think this is a good concept. In theory, it's just going to come down to the execution of how many Pokemon is really going to be able to play in it. Because lately, there wasn't really a point of having a Pokemon Stadium like game ever since, what was it, Battle Revolution on the Wii?
Yeah.
Where you were able to dump your Pokemon from Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum up on that thing. I remember renting Battle Revolution, and we were playing that mess on the Wii though. But those were some fun times though. But now that you have essentially those portable Pokemon games actually be a quote unquote console game, thanks to the hybrid nature of the Switch, there's really no point of having a Pokemon Stadium like game. That is until now, where I guess the main point of it would just be to say, hey, and this is what I'm crossing my fingers the most about it is if you're able to use all the gimmicks that were ever introduced in a Pokemon game and put that mess in the champions, I think that will be the most beautiful thing that you can do. Hear me
Well,
out,
yeah,
Steven.
that
This
would
is this is
be.
my pipe dream. When I say everything, gosh dang it, Steven, I mean every single thing. I'm talking about all the gimmicks. So if you want to do Dynamaxing, you can do that. You want to do Z modes, you can do that. You want to do Mega Evolutions, which I already showed that, you can do that. even the stuff within Gen 5. If you want to do triple battles, gosh dang it, you have your triple battles,
Well,
your double
triple
battles,
battle.
even rotation battles. Run that mess back. If
I,
they say they're going to do rotation battles up in Pokemon Champions, I'm going to be like, sign me up. Gosh
yeah, I'll
dang
be
it.
excited. Yes, I'll be excited if triple battles and rotation battles are back because they're funny, even if they're not necessarily the most like advanced battles. I still think they're pretty funny. But I was gonna say I don't really care for Dynamax, but yeah, hopefully they can use this as like an opportunity to make like the ultimate like a competitive Pokemon game because that's what it should be. This game, because the thing I'm the most excited for about Pokemon Champions is that hopefully as we'll talk about soon. They'll experiment with the new games, so Pokemon Champions will be like the turn-based game, and then the main series Pokemon games can go more action RPG instead of turn based.
Mm, I
Which
say, oh man,
we'll
that's
talk
that's
about
a
it soon. But Legend
uh,
ZA does show signs that Pokemon is slowly gonna kind of take the turn based mechanics away.
it's interesting, but all right, we'll get to it though.
Well,
But
yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah, so outside of that, that's all they kind of showcase off within that. Now that I throw that kind of pipe dream out in the world, look, if somehow this I can't even remember like what's the studio that's going to be working on this mess though, but if they're working on this mess 24/7 and are able to do what that pipe dream I mentioned of, then hey, I actually will probably do some more time up on this game than what I originally was thinking of. But I don't know. Here's hoping though. It's not coming out anytime soon. It's still in active development though. We just kind of got first glimpses of it right here and now though. But yeah, that was it for Champions. And then obviously the key highlight of the show was Pokemon Legends ZA. And we finally got a good look at it outside of just gosh, I don't even know what we got of it last year. Like they literally announced this thing a whole year ago and we hadn't heard any update or news on it since then though. And then we finally managed to get this. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know what? It's good that we finally got some confirmed bit of news. And when I was sitting down and watching this trailer, I was like, oh crap. They're doing some stuff up in this game. I mean, we'll take it bit by bit because there's a lot to kind of unpack with this one, Steven, though. Starting off with the starter Pokemon, I wasn't expecting to get two Johtos in one Unova, like Totodile, Chikorita, and Tepe. Were you expecting that?
It's a weird choice, but at the same time, they probably didn't want to do Gen 6 starters because this is a Kalos game, and Gen 1 and Gen 3 starters already got megas. Because I'm assuming these starters are gonna get megas because they're bringing megas back.
Yeah, because I think in the
It'd
same
be
way like
very
Legends
weird if
Arceus
they
did
make.
it, because like what in that game we had Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and what was the water starter in that
We
one?
had a we had a Rowlet, Cyndaquil, and Oshawott.
Oshawott, yeah, Gen 5. And you still were able to go around and capture a Chimchar or a Piplup or a Turtwig or whatever those. So I imagine every time we have a Legends game and it's set in a certain region, you're not going to get starter Pokemon from that because you just catch them out in the wild. So I mean that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I guess it's just the fact that it's two Gen 2 starters. I personally don't have a problem with it. I like that because my boy Totodile is an instant pick for my starter. All I'm gonna say.
I mean, I was looking at
Um,
him because I was like, dang, I was like, Gen 2 Pokemon, really? And I was like, well, Chikorita. I'm like, nah, I can't with Chikorita
Gen
because that
2,
was literally the worst starter Pokemon in the history until Popplio came along in Gen 7 though. And I was like, no,
yeah.
I just don't like Chikorita though. And then
Well,
Tepig, I was like, I love my fire type Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. But I'm like, Tepig in comparison to
they
like Blaziken or Infernape or something, I'm like, I've been there, done that. I always like to kind of shake things up with a Legends game, try to do something I normally don't do. So that kind of rolls me down to Totodile.
they could have done Snivy.
They could have. If they would have done Snivy, then I would have been actually legit thinking between water or grass
Well,
at
I
that
guess it's
point.
it's weird. I guess they couldn't really do any Pokemon that already had an alternate form. I guess I don't know. I obviously they couldn't do Typhlosion because he's got those allegations.
No, it's because they already did him in Legends Arceus. They weren't gonna run him back again.
Well, he's also got the allegations.
Well,
Remember
I
the
guess he
games
got
we
two
played.
things going for him now, but
Yeah.
oh man, these people crazy. Anyway, though,
Yes,
um,
but like I don't know. I think it's a good selection of starters. You know, putting aside the fact that it's two Gen 2 starters, Meganium for Alligator and Embor are all pretty good. I just don't like Tepig. I don't know.
yeah, I
He
don't know.
Tepig just has like a punchable face. I want to like curb stomp that motherfucker.
Gosh, Steven, what the heck?
I don't know. I don't know. There's something about him.
The curve
Some
stop, curve
Yes, I'll
stop.
stop. I'll stop there. But like, yeah, he has a very curb stompable face.
Oh gosh, Steven, and the children, though, the children. Oh goodness.
Let the children pick Tepig. Let the
Okay,
real men pick Totodile. Okay.
all right. I was about to say, well, anyway, though, outside of that, I was like, okay, so the starters, they're decent, they're okay. I'll roll with my boy Totodile and see how this adventure goes. I imagine for Alligator having a sick Mega Evolution, that might be sick. I mean, shoot, they make him Water Dragon or something like that. Oh, then sign me up because I love my dragons any day of the week. So, that was it for the starter Pokemon. Then we kind of started to see all the different people that were introduced, the region, the world, and stuff like that, though. Let's just go ahead and knock the gameplay aspect out of the way though, because like how a traditional Legends game does, I mean, we only had one Legends game that happened before this with Arceus. They like to do some stuff differently in comparison to like how we do within the natural core, like Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet, though, because this is gonna be a Pokemon series first. The Pokemon and the trainers take action in real time during battle. Like we're talking about some ATB level stuff that you would see in like some Final Fantasy games, though. So, like in previous Pokemon games, Pokemon obviously will take one action per turn or whatever, though. But in ZA, the trainers and their Pokemon will basically move around in real time during battles, and Pokemon will unleash their moves when the trainers command them to do so. So, in addition to type matchups, there would now be new gameplay mechanics to consider, such as like precise timing for swapping out your Pokemon or using moves, the different lengths of time moves will take to launch, and how big an area the moves will impact. This unprecedented style of Pokemon battling is the yeah, I lost my tongue. This unprecedented style of Pokemon battling is one of the most thrilling parts of this title. So that in a nutshell has me extremely excited though, because that's the thing
Yeah.
I've been loving with the Legends games is because they do something drastically different from what we have in the core games. Like even with Legends Arceus, the fact that Pokemon could physically attack you and knock you out, you had to sneak up on them, stealthily throw out a Pokeball and then capture them or whatever, or the whole thing with the quick or the agile style and the strong style. That was really cool stuff. You didn't see that in the core thing. Now we actually get so I'll go ahead and say this: the closest to anime battling there is in this
Well,
game right here.
a lot of people are comparing it to the Xenoblade with. Well, did you see that the moves are now rechargeable and on timers like your arts in Xenoblade?
Yeah, which that honestly makes perfect sense because if you kind of think about that with the Xenoblade 3 gameplay, the almost the way how the anime stuff plays out, like you can't just constantly spam out
Yeah,
certain moves like a hyper beam or something like. I mean, granted, yeah, you do
yeah. Like, well,
wait
just
a
being
turn
able
or
to.
whatever though, but
It's it's also just with the dodging mechanic. You really do have to balance. You have to think about how to balance things a lot more.
yeah. So I like that sense of like thinking about it in the I'm honestly it's the closest thing that you have to like an anime battle. So I love that in itself is has me super intrigued to see me play this game from start to finish. I'm like that's how you captivate some people and change
Yeah.
some things up. I was like, I just love it for that aspect alone.
Like dodging, like actually telling your Pokemon. I don't. Here's the thing. I don't know if you're gonna be controlling the Pokemon yourself, or if you're gonna give them a command to the dodge.
I
Either
think they
way,
technically follow you when you move around or something. That's the part that has me tripped up a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta move my own person to move, tell the Pokemon to also move.
here's the thing.
I don't
Have
know.
you played Pokken? Have you played
Yeah,
Pokken?
I played Pokken.
You
Yeah,
know the 3D battles?
yeah.
I think when the game goes 3D, I think something like that would be perfect for Pokemon main series. Like at this point, with the way that the series is going, I think they really need to lean into that action-packed thing. Because like a turn-based battles are fun and all, but like I feel like you know the way that Pokemon does turn-based battles is not as interesting as the way that other franchises do turn-based battles. Like Dragon Quest and stuff like that. There's a lot more going on.
I don't know, but it's like if you that would be like borderline if you were to make a big move like that, that's enough to kind of shake everything up to its core because
Which is what
for the
Pokemon needs.
I mean, yeah, it needs some shakeups and stuff, but like that's a fundamental ripping the roots out from under you because like the
But
old people, the new people, they're all used to a game being turn based. Granted, yeah, the presentation, the story, the Pokemon that are up in there,
well,
some
you
of the other
say that,
business
but
decision moves. I mean, yeah, all of that can change from game
but
to game, the gimmicks and stuff though. But like the core of it being turn based is kind of what made Pokemon Pokemon.
that's fair. But they've been very very slowly building to this for a long time, and it feels like this is it being realized. Think about it like this: Legends Arceus had you dodging with your character. You were dodging attacks from wild Pokemon. This game, you were dodging with your Pokemon during battles. Because remember, in Legends Arceus, you could move around during battles. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah, no, you
but you
could
just
just to
it didn't
see
do
fights
anything.
play from a different angle. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it felt like it made me think while I was playing the game. It made me think this is really cool. Like, what if I could actually, if I moved in a battle, would it actually do something, or could I get hurt while in the battle if the enemy's attack is in my way? I don't know. I think that could be really interesting if they did that. Which this game feels like a big step towards that. Like they're gonna do it. They're gonna do that in this game to kind of gauge people's interest.
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. Because obviously, even the whole aspect of well, with Legends Arceus, it was open zone, but they kind of took it a step further within Scarlet and Violet and just almost basically made it open world or whatever. Though, but we kind of saw them making the strides towards that within the Legends game. So whatever they're cooking up in this game, there's a good chance they could take some elements from this game and incorporate that within Gen 10. Even if they still do turn-based battles or whatever though, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some mini mode or something where you can do some of the similar things that we're doing in Legends Arceus in whatever that Gen 10 Pokemon game happens to be, even if it's like in a I guess like a tournament setting or a stadium or something. It's like a unique mode or something. I don't know. But regardless of the fact, the gameplay does look really promising. Now let's look at the presentation and stuff. When I'm looking at the graphics and stuff, I seen obviously there's everybody and their mom always like to complain about that stuff though. But in comparison, like if you were to look at this in comparison, like what we first got the first time with Legends Arceus, or by extension, some of the stuff that tends to happen in Scarlet and Violet and stuff, this might be the best looking, quote me right on this game, the best looking Pokemon game on the Switch that's akin to a Legends or a core series title. So that throws out of the realm of the spin-off games that a lot of people like to
Yeah,
mention with
because
Pokken
new Pokemon
or
Snap,
new Pokemon Snap. Yeah.
which to be fair, new Pokemon Snap is a beautiful looking game, but I digress.
Yeah. So outside of those, in terms of this like core games, this one I think by far looks the best. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, okay, some of the environments actually look pretty. It kind of looks like they were taking their time. It doesn't feel like they were kind of rushed on this because I imagine as soon as they were done with Scarlet and Violet, the main story, because I imagine they had like a B tier working on the DLC or whatever. I imagine they went straight to working on this. So what was it? Scarlet and Violet came out in what year? 2022?
Yes.
So I imagine 2023 is when they probably started working on this mess at some point. So they've been working on it for at least a couple or maybe a few years, roughly.
If I had to make a guess, they've been working on Legends ZA since the end of that game's DLC, so around late 2022.
Yeah. So honestly, I've been liking everything I've been seeing so far. Then you get to look at some of the new characters like the protagonists and stuff, in which the protagonist designs they look all right between the dudes and the girls though, but those twins though that are the rival twins. I guess it like what if you choose the dude, you get the girl as a rival, or if you choose the girl, you get the guy as a rival though. I will say this, Steven, if you choose the guy and you get the female rival though, that female rival though, dang, she look fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that out there though.
I'm
And
I'm gonna I'm gonna completely ignore that you said that. Honestly,
I'm just saying, I just like the actual design of that character though, like the two shade kind of hair color and stuff, and also the fact that these people don't look like kids up in this thing. Like it looks like we kind of got a little slice of, or an element or a slice from like the Gen 5 era, where the people that you're controlling and the rivals and stuff, they don't look like they're like 12 years old. They at least look like 17, 18-ish. And I was like, okay, I actually appreciate that. Gosh dang it. Like, not everybody has to look like a kid every time that you start up one of these games, though. Thank you. But anyway, though, regardless, like I think she might be my favorite go-to character. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that out there though. But
okay.
anyway, though, outside of that, I do like all the designs and stuff, all the different characters. They look really cool though. And I think the one last big major standout is oh gosh, the dude's name is slipping my mind though. Literally
AC.
AZ. I kept
Yeah,
wanting to say
that made.
ZA, and I'm like, no, that's the name of the game, not not the dude. Yeah.
I thought that was really cool personally. Just seeing AZ again.
And I think some people were actually thinking like, wait, is this game in the past? Is it in the future? Because like Legends Arceus
No,
was in the
they
past or whatever.
literally.
But no, this takes place in the future.
Yeah, you see him with his floette, like, and I'm pretty sure they say like after everything that happened, in the ancient events of X and Y, like his floette, Well, not to mention that in the actual direct, they say like apparently he's been alive for over 3,000 years. They like tease that.
And then if you remember the end of X and Y in the credit scene, gosh, it's been a while since I played those games. They literally say, "Man, it's been 3,000 years," and he got reunited with,
The
yeah.
meme. It's been 3,000 years.
Which I don't know how that dude's living for 3,000 years. That's probably the most
Well, probably
cracked up.
something. Well, probably something with his machine. Like he was like some. The fact that he was able to build that machine, he's like some sort of great inventor, obviously.
I don't know, but anyway, I just find it funny how it's just kind of running like a hotel or something like that nowadays. Though
He's just chilling.
he's just
He's
chilling.
he's he's finally just chilling.
Yeah, so we got a good look at him. And I think outside of that, that was pretty much mostly all the information we kind of got out of there. So got to see the combat, got to see what the world looks like. Obviously, it's still all encompassing around Lumino City. A lot of elements from Legends Arceus, but they went and actually evolved and improved upon a lot of that stuff as well. So I'm really looking. I'm really liking the way how this game is turning out.
Yeah, me too. Better run good. Better be a consistent 30 FPS, or I will kill. Why I can't say that. I will
Oh
kill
no!
my starter Pokemon.
Oh
There.
gosh, Steven, the children. Oh goodness,
Fine.
this man
Alright,
over here
fine.
killing people's starters Pokemon,
They
man.
better listen. Obviously, like Switch 2 is gonna make the game run better, but it better just run decent. It better run good.
I mean,
It
I
shouldn't
remember
need
when they
Switch
showed
2.
that first Legends Arceus footage and it looked kind of choppy. I didn't notice any kind of choppiness, at least
No,
for
I'm
this
not.
first trailer.
Legends Arceus runs fine. Scarlet and Violet runs like shit. I don't really trust them. I don't trust Game Freak with making a game that runs competently anymore.
Oh no. But anyway, they did say in terms of release date, they did say it's coming out later part of 2025, which I always hate when they say that. Just go ahead and say November. Everybody and their mom already know this game's coming out in November. It doesn't make no sense to say later part of 2025, knowing good and well you're shooting for that holiday season where you always like to typically drop your games out. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Look, I'm so bold. let me pull up a calendar real quick, cause I can probably tell y'all what day this game is actually coming out on. Let me go ahead and fast forward all the way over here to November real quick.
I have a document. I have a document
That
already.
game is coming. Wait. When is Black Friday?
Zard.
Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that game's coming out on November 20th. Y'all heard it here first. November 20th.
Well, guess what? You heard it here. You heard it here, folks. I think Zard's wrong. I think the game's launching September 25th.
You think it's actually going to be before the holiday like that?
Yeah, because I
Uh,
think Mario's their big holiday title, and I don't really think they're gonna want to overshadow their marketing for Mario with marketing for an upcoming Pokemon game.
no, I would say they move Mario up and then they have Pokemon later.
I don't see that
Because I
mostly
mean,
because they've already
they
they've
could
no because they've
easily throw. Because remember, if you think back to what was it in 2017, mind you, that's when Mario Odyssey came out. But you also had Pokemon
yeah,
Ultra
but they
Sun and Ultra
already
Moon.
announced Mario
Mario
by the
Odyssey came out in late October. It was
yeah
close. It was close to November, but it was still
yes,
categorized as late October,
but
and
you have
still
to
had the
remember
Pokemon games come out in mid-November.
yes, but you have to remember Mario Odyssey was already announced by this time last January. Or that January Mario Odyssey got announced. While Pokemon Legends ZA has been announced for a lot longer, I'd hope that it's coming out before. We'll see. But like I
Mm,
don't know, it would make sense for it to release first. Especially because Nintendo usually doesn't show us games that long before their release. If Mario gets revealed if Mario gets revealed next month, yeah, it would make sense for it to have like a 6 to 7 month wait for marketing. And if that's their big holiday title, then they need to really market the hell out of that game.
but yeah, so honestly, that was some good stuff that we saw out of that Pokemon Presents within that. And that's honestly all we managed to get up out of it. The coolest thing is, I guess, is the Mega Evolutions that is returning. So I'm really looking forward
Yeah.
to what new
They
Pokemon
didn't
might
show
get
any
in
new
Megas. They
ones.
didn't show any new ones, which I know some people were upset about though. But they can literally use that as like their whole marketing campaign. Be like, oh, look at this new Mega here and this new Mega there or whatever though.
Well, yeah, we have a hype. Like, obviously, we're gonna get new trailers frequently. You know, they're not just gonna leave us in the dark.
Yeah, so I don't know. So the next, I don't know. I mean, we could see an update in terms of like an updated release or whatever, though. And as soon as the April 2nd direct, that would be the absolute earliest. But then obviously it'll be any point after that. It could be, anybody's fair game after that, though. But,
I'm sure Nintendo is not gonna miss out on the opportunity to show off a Pokemon game during their biggest event of the year, probably.
yeah,
Because remember, they announced this thing months before. This is their Switch presentation. They're just doing it as a direct instead. This is a big deal.
yeah,
But yeah, that's a lot about Legend ZA because that was it was like the main thing is Legend ZA. But yeah, in my opinion, I think it's releasing around September.
yeah. So overall, that was pretty much all that was showcased off in that Pokemon Presents stuff. So, Steven, if you were to give it a letter grade, what would you give it?
I don't know. I feel like it was missing some kind of pizzazz. I would say it was a B. We
Yeah,
already knew about. I don't know. Pokemon Champions would have been a cool announcement if they showed us more.
or gave you a release date or something. I'll say it's like a
Anything.
B minus or a C plus, somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
we just know it's coming, and we don't really know much else.
Yeah, my
It's
yeah.
okay.
Outside of that, that was pretty much it for the presents. I thought it was a pretty solid presentation, all things considering, because I knew they were just gonna mostly focus on just what they already announced. They're not gonna really try to fill this thing up or announce too many titles and get too far ahead of themselves. Because if you actually look at the calendar now, Pokemon was actually celebrating its 29th anniversary. Next year will be the big 30th anniversary. And I can only imagine how big they're going to go for their 30th anniversary because, mind y'all,
You said next year.
yeah, next year is going to be their 30th. So I'm imagining at that point, that's when they're going to make their big blowout with the Generation 10 games.
That's
They're
probably
going
when
to
they'll
go
finally.
big And I remember they did the whole 20th anniversary stuff, and they gave out like all the mythicals all over again. So I can imagine it doing that along with a plethora of other stuff, though.
Maybe that's when we'll finally get the damn Pokemon games on NSO.
Probably. Gosh dang it. They were waiting for the 30th one. Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Well, hope at that point, if they were to, don't just only give us Gen 1 and Gen 2. At that point, you might as well give us the Gen 3 stuff to stick in the GBAs as well. Oh, man. But yeah, outside of that, that was it for the Pokemon Presents stuff. And that basically concluded everything that we had to talk about in this one episode of the ZardCast podcast, though. So, oh man, that was a lot of stuff that we went through. Where it been the gaming topics, the pop culture stuff, the impromptu Marvel thing that you squeezed up in the thing, as well as my Sarcast episode 100 reflections though. So overall, it was a chock full episode. I hope it was fun for all y'all that were going through and listening to it though. And 100 episodes in, and here's to many more though. But Steven, let the fine people know where they can find you at.
You can find me on twitter.com at Steven Jr. 1231, or you could find me on a collab channel I do with some friends called Spaghetti Disco on YouTube.
Alrighty, and that's truly gonna do it for episode 100 of the Czarcast podcast. Now, if y'all hadn't already done so, make sure you're going to hit that like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and that bell to stay up to date on all things video game related. I feel like talking about and discussing. And if you're curious and want to support your channel just a little bit more, then feel free to hit that join button link down below. But that's going to truly do it for this episode of the pod. And if you happen to be one of my audio only listeners, happen to be listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio. Yes, you can listen to me in the car along with a handful of other audio only services out there though. Just go ahead and leave a review. Just kind of let everybody know that hey, we're just a couple dudes that just love to talk about pop culture stuff, gaming stuff, and everything else in between though. That's truly gonna do it for this one episode though. So remember y'all until our video I make next, until my next Zarcast episode, that being episode 101. Oh man, it's start gonna the naming on this message is gonna start to be a mouthful. 100 and something every time. I'll see y'all later.